Welcome back to the course. This will be our bonus chapter for rigging the character. Initially, this was not the part of the course, because rigging itself is a very big topic. And if you really want to learn rigging, I would suggest you to enroll into course that's specific for the rigging. Regardless, I'll guide you through quick and easy rigging process using Rigify, which is Blender default add-on. To use that, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-on. Find the Rigify add-on and enable it. Once you enable that, you will see the Rigify option. Press Shift+A, Armature. You can see the Rigify Meta Rig. And there are more options for animals. Basic human rigs. But we are going to use this one. First, create new collection. Give it a name. We can also move this up. Now, press Shift+A, Armature, Meta Rig, Human. We get this armature. By the way, the basic human rig doesn't come with fingers and facial bones. Though, we will delete these facial bones to keep things simple. Just like any other objects, it has some properties. These are all different bone collections. For now, go to Viewport Display. Check this in front option, so the bones are visible on top of the mesh. That makes easier to work with these bones. Sometimes it can get distracted. In that case, we can uncheck this option. Right now, the armature is bigger than the character. Simply scale it down with S. Let's hide these collections, so it's easier to align these bones to the base mesh. We can also turn on the wireframe. Press Tab to go into edit mode. We can select individual bones. We will align these bones to the base mesh. We can go to pose mode. This is for the pose and animation. For now, let's go to edit mode. To keep things simple, we will delete the face bone. Just select all these face bones. Not the head bone. We don't need these, so press X to delete. There is one bone here, which is the face bone. If we are deleting the facial bones, we must delete this as well, or else we will get an error when generating the rig. Now it is time to align these bones properly. Move this head bone to the center. We got two bones for the neck, so align them accordingly. We tries to keep the bones in middle of the mesh, which is not the case in real life. Let's turn on the symmetry option here, so anything we do on the left side bones will mirror the bones on the right side. this bone inside the mesh and try to fit it into chest. Place this spine joint around this chest, just below the chest bones. This will control the parts above this. Better avoid placing this around this area. Switch to side view. We have to adjust these bones as much as possible, so the bones influence the mesh properly. Here's these bones are bit off the center, which is how the real-life spine bones are. But unlike real-life spine bones, we can place these spine bones in the middle of the mesh, so we get the weight equally around these mesh. Let's push this bone in, and other spine joints as well. Select this spine and the pelvis. Move it up so it's inside the mesh. Here we can adjust these joints. Move this thigh joint up. Select this joint and move it inside a bit. Place this knee joints. Select all these foot bones. Adjust it according to the model. We know she has the shoes, which is on the ground level, but we will place these according to the base mesh. It would be different if we didn't have full mesh. I guess we can place it on the ground. By the way, this is just a guide bones. When we generate the rig, we don't need this one. Anyway, back to the arms. If you have the pivot point set to individual point, bones will rotate from individual points. Make sure to set it to median point. Now we can adjust them. Move this elbow joint inside, but make sure it's not straight. Have little bend on upper and lower arm joints, so the IK chain work properly. Same goes for the legs. That was very rough placement of the joints. Let's turn off this subdivision for the base. Select this face loop. Press Shift+S, cursor to selected. Switch to armature and select these joints. Press Shift+S again, then selection to cursor. Because we have symmetry option on, it will adjust on the other side. We will do the same on the elbow joint. Select these vertices. Press Shift+S and cursor to selected. Select this joint and Shift+S, selection to cursor. Move this back a bit, because we need little bend on this. Repeat the same on the wrist. By the way, you can change the armature looks. Go to Viewport Display. You can select different option from this drop-down menu. Adjust the thigh joint. Just like the elbow, adjust this knee joint. Push this joint forward to make a bend. So, try to keep the bone structure like this. Better avoid straight alignment like this. For IK to work properly. With this little bend, IK chain will understand where to bend. Or else it will tries to bend this way as well, which we don't want. Same for this arms. Select the chest bone, and from top view, rotate this a bit, because it's not straight. The chest goes little bit off, not the straight. Now the TDS part is to adjust all these fingers. But we will repeat the same process. So I'll just speed up a bit. First adjust them roughly. Then just switching between the mesh and the armature. Set the cursor and place the joint as needed. Just like we did for other joints. just placing the joints. We also want to align the bones to the mesh. Here we can see the bones are a bit misaligned. Also, these bones are twisted a bit. Select the bone and Ctrl+R to twist. Try to align it with the middle edge on the finger. You can do the same to each bones. Of course, you can twist multiple bones at once. Also, I'm trying to keep the x-axis this way and the z-axis to this way. It's important to keep all these bones aligned like this. I mean, you can keep the z-axis upward as well. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if you got misaligned axis, you will have some issue with constraints. Here you can see how it will looks like. So there is a lot of things going on. To ease our workflow, there are a lot of constraints that are being used. For that to work properly, these axes need to be aligned. Not sure if that explained to you or not. If you know how local and world axis work, then you probably know what I mean. Anyway, I don't want to confuse any further. You can simply keep these as I have here and trust the process. We are done with the base mesh. But we also need some extra bones for the hair. And maybe some bones for this collar. And we also have some extra piece on the bottom. That will be covered in the next one, because it's already too long. So I'll see you in the next one.